It's like Dr. Richardson's not in. It's clearly.
I, those, got this thing.
You're dangerous over holiday.
Good morning. I know collectively we can do a little bit better. This is the first meeting of 2024, and everyone is happy to be here on a 35-degree Wednesday morning, right? Let's try it again. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, we are pleased that you decided to bundle up, or if you didn't bundle up, to just kind of move quickly to come inside the building and join us for today's meeting. As I mentioned, this is the first board meeting of 2024, so I will still sneak in Happy New Year in these early days. So we will get started. We have a not too very long agenda today, so we will move to that fairly quickly, but please know that there's a lot of work that has gone into making sure that the board has the items that are prepared. But you as presidents, or those of you who are presidents, you do a lot of the work, to say the least, in making sure that these items make their way through the process. So with that, I would also like to thank the Chancellor and his staff and the presidents again for how you work together in preparing for these meetings. We know it and don't take it as lightly. As always, we remain laser focused on student success and true to our core mission of education, workforce development, and academic transfer. We will follow the agenda, which is the first item. We will have invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. This morning for the invocation, we're happy to have Dr. Neil Hughes from the Montgomery Baptist Association join us. Dr. Hughes is the Director of Missions of the Montgomery Baptist Association and Executive Director of MBA Community Ministries, Inc. He returned to the River Region in 2016, having served with Southern Baptist North Mission Board for 11 years. Prior to that, he served as pastor in Montgomery, Birmingham, Georgia, and Texas. In addition to his duties in Montgomery and the River Region, he serves as a trustee of the Executive Committee of the Southern Baptist Convention and the Alabama Baptist State Board of Missions. Dr. Hughes is a graduate of Samford University, Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary, and holds a Doctor of Ministry degree from Liberty University. He is a storyteller and is the author of many books and articles on church planning, church revitalization, and church renewal. He and his wife Mary have 3 grown children living in Florida and Maryland, along with 2 grandchildren. Dr. Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chancellor Baker, let's join our hearts together as we pray. Father, we are so grateful to you that you have given to us the privilege to come and do the business that you have called us to do here today for our great state. Lord, we're reminded, as the psalmist has told us, and Brother Rowan has reminded us, that this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, Father, we thank you that we have been allowed to gather here. Father, I thank you for the Alabama Community College System and the Board of Trustees who are serving here today. I thank you for Chairman Rohn and the leadership skills that you have given him. Father, I thank you for the care that these community colleges give to both young people and adults, and how they inspire students to discover their dreams. So today, our Father, we ask for your favor upon this board and the decisions that will be made here today. We ask that you give to each holy and heavenly wisdom. We ask you, O Lord, that the results of this gathering will affect change, not only in our many institutions of learning, but also among the citizens of Alabama. I ask you, dear Father, that we may all leave this chamber today with a satisfaction in our hearts that good and your good will have both been accomplished. So I pray this prayer in the matchless name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Dr. Hughes. We appreciate those encouraging words. Would you join me in standing for our Pledge of Allegiance, please? Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We next have roll call. Madam Secretary, Ms. Wilkins.
Mr. Jeff Shell. Mr. Jeff Shell. Mr. John Mitchell.
Present.
Ms. Valerie Gray.
Present.
Mr. Goodrich Rogers.
Present.
Mr. Ron Houston.
Present.
Mr. Ledwin Roan.
Present.
Mr. Tim McCartney.
Present.
Mr. Britton Lacey.
Present.
Dr. Yvette Richardson.
Thank you. Next, we'll move for the approval of the minutes from the December 13th, 2023 meeting. This agenda was distributed in advance to our board members for their review. I will now entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Rogers. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Lightsey. Any further discussion? All in favor of approval, please signify by raising your hand or a voice vote. The motion passes.
Mr. Chair, just want to make sure y'all recorded my presence. I think I
Thank
was
you.
muted when y'all called the roll.
That's never happened before, has it, to any of us? Thanks, Jeb. We appreciate it. Now we'll actually move to the approval of the minutes for the December 13th, 2023 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Ms. Gray and seconded by Mr. McCarthy. Any further discussion? All in favor of approval, please signify by raising your hand or a voice vote.
Aye.
It passes. Thank you. Madam Secretary, do we have anyone signed up for public comment? All right, thank you. One of the aspects of these meetings that is really a high point is the actual college spotlight, where we actually have someone who either represents or is a staff member from one of our 24 community colleges in their own way come and give you their experience or something about their institution. So this week, this month, we have Northwest Shoals Community College.
Good morning, Chancellor Baker, Chairman Rohn, members of the Board of Trustees. I am thrilled to death and honored to be able to spotlight Northwest Shoals Community College here today as the president. I am excited about the things that are going on up there, and today I'm going to tell you a little bit about one of our graduates named Candace Robinson. And she would love to be here today, but she's at work because she's taken full advantage of the opportunities that she received at Northwest Shoals, and she is now gainfully employed in what she will describe in the video as her dream job as an ICU nurse at Helen Keller Hospital. So we're very, very proud of her, and we're proud of the work that she's done. Can't do justice what you're going to see in the video, but I do want to tell you a little bit. Candace came to us from a shelter with her 2 school-aged children, enrolled in Northwest Shoals, and took every advantage of the opportunity she was given and instruction she was given, and has made us proud both at Northwest Shoals and the Alabama Community College system. So with that, I'll ask the video to be played and let you see our spotlighted student.
I chose to go into nursing because my youngest son, he actually had open heart surgery when he was 4 days old. Many doctor visits and hospital stays, and some of the nurses touched me in ways that even those closest to me couldn't. And I decided that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be that for someone else someday. I got started with Northwest Shoals in 2016. I was actually living in shelter with my 2 sons. Being a single mom of 2 teenage boys in nursing school was one of the most difficult things I have ever accomplished in my life. Your confidence is completely tested in nursing school. Nursing school reveals any lack of confidence that you may have, and it also exposes all the areas you may need extra healing in. I even failed a semester, and I had to wait a whole year to go back, and I went through a major depression. I felt like I had completely failed in life. I thought that it was over. So the faculty at Northwest Shoals, they support you every inch of every step of the way. They are there. I had met with my instructor, Miss Hester, and she cried some tears with me over Zoom because it was in the middle of the COVID pandemic. And I was telling her, I don't know how I'm going to come back. I don't know that I can. This was it, and I'm scared it's over. She said, we're going to help you. The instructors at Northwest Shoals have a scholarship that they donate a portion of their own check, their own money into to help students come back. And if I wouldn't have been approved for financial aid or anything else, the teachers were willing to pay out of pocket to help me achieve my dreams. So as I start my job in PCU, which is the step-down unit, and cross-trained with ICU at Helen Keller Hospital, I feel completely more prepared after being in Northwest Shoals. Because it is an associate's degree program, you get tons of hands-on experience. So there are certain things that when I talk to my nurse friends that they've never seen that I've gotten to take part in and provide care in. When I walked across the stage to graduate with my ADN, I felt like 1,000 pounds had been lifted off my shoulders. Before my grandmother had passed Christmas night of 2010, I had made her 2 promises: that my grandfather would not go into a nursing home and that I would graduate school. So graduating across that stage, I could feel her with me, and it was one of the best feelings ever, knowing that I put in the hard work, I did that, and to be recognized and celebrated was phenomenal. My oldest son, Northwest Shoals, is helping him graduate high school with his welding certificate. So if you have the will, if you want it, you can do it. Northwest Shoals provides every tool that you need for success. And that's the power of Northwest Shoals.
So as I said, I cannot do justice what you saw on the video with words, but I do want you to realize how proud we are of Candace going from homeless to now a homeowner, an update that's not in the video. She purchased her first home last month. She went from having a job where she wasn't even able to pay for her family while in the shelter to her dream job as an ICU nurse, And her son, as you heard, is also enrolled in our welding program at Northwest Shoals. So the Northwest Shoals family helping another family, and as you saw when you heard, her route from enrollment to degree was not a straight line. It was very circuitous, and there were some bumps in the road. But we're proud of our faculty and our staff as well for making sure they were always there for our students. And I do appreciate the opportunity to highlight that today, and go Patriots.
Thank you.
That video, I think, said it all in terms of why we are here, why nearly 60,000 students every day decide to vote with their feet and become a part of a community college somewhere in Alabama. With 24 schools, we're where the people are. And in this case, Northwest Shoals was right where Candace needed them to be, quite honestly, it seems. And the investment that she talked about, where staff members actually take part of their well-earned dollars and plow them back into the students, also speaks volumes about the people that choose to make their self an employee or part of the community college system. So if you would please tell Candace, on behalf of all of us, we salute her for her resilience, and what she does every day clearly is, without fail, one of the most important jobs you could have, and that is taking care of us. So thank you very much for sharing that. We will continue through our agenda. Our next item, which is item 8, executive, legal, and public information. There are no action items for this meeting in that area. So we'll move to item 9, instruction, research, and development, adult education, facilities, physical information, technology, and workforce. That's a lot. But there's only one item there this month as well. So that is from Wallace State Community College in Hansville, their Coleman lease property for workforce development. It is recommended that the Community College System Board of Trustees approve and/or ratify the president of Wallace State Community College Hansville's entering into a lease agreement with NA Properties LLC, DBA Rehau, for the use of Rehau's R&D building by the college as a workforce training facility. The initial term of the lease is 12 months, with an option in favor of the college to renew for an additional 12 months. Do I have a motion to approve?
So
A motion by Mr. Rogers. Do I have a second?
second.
Second by Mr. Houston. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please raise your hand or voice vote.
Aye.
The motion passes. Thank you. Next, we have personnel. Ms. Finkelstein?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Charlene Finkelstein. I'm with the Human Resources Department here, and I have a few wonderful new additions to the staff I'd like to introduce to you. First of all, we have Mr. Jim Mankiewicz. Jim, would you stand? Jim is our new systems manager. He has 20 years of experience in information technology. Most all of it was at Lawson State Community College, where he served as network specialist, administrator, and most recently, the director of information systems. He began at Bessemer State Community College before it merged with Lawson, and he stayed with Lawson ever since. He has a bachelor's degree in information management systems from Virginia College and holds multiple IT certifications, and he is based here at the system office. Thank you, Jim. Lewis Jackson. Lewis Jackson is also in our IT department. He's the virtual desktop administrator. Lewis has over 13 years of experience in information technology as a network support and administrator, most of it at Gunter Air Force Base. He most recently served as security engineer and deputy security operations center manager at the state's Office of Information Technology. He has a bachelor's degree in business administration from Tuskegee University and a master's in management information technology from Auburn University. Lewis is also based here at our system office. Thank you, Lewis. Caitlin Stewart. Caitlin is our new Director of Fiscal Services. She has over 9 years of experience in the accounting field. She served the last 5 years at Auburn University in Montgomery as an accountant, a manager, and most recently as the Director of the Office of Student Accounts. She has a bachelor's degree in Commerce and Business Administration and a master's of accountancy, both from the University of Alabama, and she is based here at the system office. Rachel Lusko. Rachel has a long title. She's Manager of Course Development Projects and Initiatives for the Innovation Center. She has over 8 years of experience in the medical field here in the Montgomery area. She served as a registered sonographer and a registered vascular sonographer. She most recently served as ultrasound manager at Baptist Medical Center, where she was the clinical instructor for Trenton State Community College sonography students. She has an associate's degree in diagnostic medical sonography from Trenton State, and she's based here at our system office. And Matthew Tice. Matthew's out here with us. Matthew is our new system facilities manager. He has 20 years of experience in the facilities management field. He served as a facilities manager for 15 years in multiple states and organizations. His past few years have been at Troy University's physical plant, where he served as grounds manager, operations manager, and most recently as the director of operations. Matthew has a bachelor's degree in facilities management from Brigham Young University, and he also is based here at our system office. So please join me in welcoming these fabulous new people to our staff.
Thank you and welcome to each and every one of you. It's a good way to start off the new year. So thank you for choosing to join us. Next, we have the Chancellor's report.
I have some personnel.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You know, it's a pleasure, and one of the pleasures of doing what I do and what this board does is doing a job that is important at a level most folks never will quite understand what happens. The day new, fresh, aggressive, positive leadership walks into the door for the first time of one of our schools, things begin to happen. A lot of good things already had happened, but it's an opportunity to just fine-tune, add to, and move forward. Mr. Chairman and Board, I want to recommend a new president for Coastal Community College. I might add that Coastal Community College within itself is a management issue. 6 major locations. You could spend your time just driving around and kill every day. But there are worlds of good people that need good service and activity by a president. The board went through the regular process. We conducted interviews, and I am prepared today to make a recommendation that Aaron Milner, doctor, be appointed as the new president at Coastal Community College. I'd like for David, if you will, to introduce him.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the Board of Trustees, Chancellor. I have been given the honor this morning of introducing to you Dr. Aaron Milner. Dr. Milner began his career in education as a middle school teacher in the Eufaula City school system. Only 6 years later, he was appointed to his first leadership job in education as an assistant principal at Enterprise High School. From there, he became the superintendent of Enterprise City School System, and his tenure there was from 2010 to 2013. Since 2013, Dr. Milner has served as the superintendent of the Saraland City School System. In addition to his experience in K-12, he has served as an adjunct instructor for both master's and doctoral courses at the University of South Alabama and Troy University. He's been nominated as District 1 Superintendent of the Year in 2016 and 2018. He is presently the President-elect of the Superintendents Association of Alabama. Dr. Milner's service in education in Alabama spans across executive committees for K-12 entities and government entities. Dr. Milner received his Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Alabama, his Master of Science degree from Troy State University, and his education doctorate from Auburn University. Dr. Milner has been married to his wife Jennifer for 26 years, and they are the proud parents of two sons, Matthew, 19, and Michael, 23. I give you Dr. Milner.
Chairman.
Dr. Milner, we'll now vote on you. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, it's with great personal and professional pride that I make a motion that we accept the nomination of Dr. Aaron Milner as President of Coastal Community College.
We've heard the motion from
I second that.
We heard the motion from Mr. Milner, for Mr. Milner's presidency from Mr. Mitchell, second by Mr., I think that was Jeb's voice from the sky. Hearing any further discussion, being none, all those in favor, please raise your hand or a voice vote.
Aye.
The motion passes. Dr. Milner, welcome to ACCS, and you are our newest president.
I want to ask Dr. Milner, if you will, go to the podium and address the group. Before he does, I want to tell you something that is noteworthy. And you'll be hearing a lot about this in the future. But as I looked through performance evaluations across the state at school districts, and I would tell you, I'm not excited about a lot of what I see. But there are places where great and good things are happening. In a community that is not necessarily anything but the normal community, not an outstanding financial wealthy community, but a community of good people. Saraland is and has not been the best funded system in the world or in the state, but it's been adequate. Saraland on the math and reading test scores just happens to be judged to be the 8th best in the state. I said the 8th best in the state. That's a big, big statement. And Aaron, we're looking for great things to happen at Coastal. Students can have opportunities. And it's a great pleasure.
Thank you. I'd like to begin, of course, by thanking Chancellor Baker and the members of the Alabama Community College System Board for entrusting me with this responsibility that I take very seriously in leading Coastal Alabama Community College. I look forward to working with the faculty, staff, administrative team in assisting our students fulfill their dreams. And I also look forward in working in lockstep with the 23 other, get that out of my language there, the 23 other presidents in the state of Alabama. I'd like to also thank all those folks that I consider personal and professional friends that are here today, a couple of whom at least surprised me by being here today. I'm blessed beyond measure with some great friends that I can't thank them enough for their support throughout the many years we have served as educators together. All my friends are educators. All we've done is tried to help the lives of the students we have served. And while I'm not able to call you each out individually, please know my appreciation for each of you. Matt Rogers, my dear friend who's no longer with us, was always passionate in describing the effectiveness of the two-year system. And if you know Matt, knew Matt, when he was passionate about something, he didn't let it go. And he was always telling me and urging me and saying, Aaron, if the opportunity ever comes about, please consider applying for one of the jobs as president of one of Alabama's community colleges. And while we didn't get the opportunity to work together again, I know that right now he's smiling and he's very happy and very proud. I would also like to, they were introduced earlier, but I want to thank my two sons that are here today, Michael and Matthew. They've always been supportive and understanding throughout my career. And it's hard to put into words how proud I am of each of you. A select group can understand the challenge of being a school administrator's child. And they have been the child of a school administrator for their entire life. And I haven't told you enough that I understood and appreciate the sacrifice you both made. And I love you both. And lastly, and most importantly, the leader of our home and the one that makes things happen for our entire family, my wife Jennifer. Jennifer's retiring at the end of this school year after 26 years in front of a group of fourth grade students. And no one is more proud of her accomplishments in her career than I am. She's also been the superintendent's wife for 13 years in the same system, which came with its own unique set of challenges. She's my best friend. And the remainder of my friends are quick to point out that any success I've had could be quickly attributed to her and the influence that she's had on me. And they're right. So I love you and I thank you for being my best friend as we have cherished this journey together. So with that said, I again want to thank you, Chancellor Baker, for this opportunity. I want to thank the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees for accepting and approving Chancellor Baker's recommendation. And I look forward to witnessing the continuous improvement of Coastal Alabama Community College. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to recognize a special guest here that will always be a part of this family, Stacy Rogers, Matt's widow. And for all of you who remember the beginning of a revolution, it happened at Enterprise one day when Matt walked on the scene. And we're so thankful for that. Thank you, Stacy. Report. Okay. Neil.
Well, good morning, Chancellor, board members, presidents, and Happy New Year. I'm always excited to be able to stand up and give an enrollment report. Before I do, I want to congratulate Dr. Milner on your appointment. This is really, really exciting, and no one has to tell you the opportunities that lie ahead there at Coastal Alabama. It's going to be a lot of fun to see you and your team work down there. And I stand on behalf of the ACCS team and just congratulate you and let you know that we're here to support you. And sometimes that support may look like getting our hands dirty with you. And sometimes that support may look like getting out of your way and letting you and your team do what you do best. But just want to let you know that we're happy for you and supportive of you. So today, I want to give a very brief recap of our fall enrollment. This fall 23, we enrolled over 83,000 students, 83,379 students. That was an increase of 4,856 students over fall of 22, what equates to a 6.2% increase. And so again, we're always excited to report those increases. That is a final number. I feel like I always tell you throughout every report that these are preliminary numbers. They're subject to change. Students may drop and students may add, but that is a final number for 4-credit education. What that equates to as far as credit hour production was 720,963 credit hours produced in the fall term. That's an increase of 31,544 credit hours, which is a 4.6% increase. 21 of our 24 colleges reported increases in both credit hour production and in head count. Fabulous. In addition to that, we had 18,243 workforce registrations and 13,182 adult education registrations. So for non-credit education, we reported an increase of over 31,425 non-credit registrations. Again, a lot of wonderful news. Very excited to be able to see those numbers continuing to trend upward. So I do want to give, again, just an equally brief update on where we are with spring registration. Many of our colleges are already back in session or will begin their sessions next week. But as of this morning, we have 74,570 students who are registered for 4-credit programs at our colleges. That's an increase of 5,823 students over last spring, which is an 8.47% increase. Again, this will change. As we know, there are students who won't show up to class and will need to be dropped. There are students who won't pay their tuition and will be dropped. but this is a very exciting number to start off with, and we expect there will be a lot more students who will continue to add over the next few weeks. And they're in there for the spring mini term, which will begin mid-semester. 650,016 credit hours are currently signed up for the spring term, and that's an increase of over 38,000 from last spring, which is a 6.35% increase. So we're very excited. And while it's still very early, there are 392 students or 392 registrations for non-credit programs as of this morning. And so again, very exciting numbers. We'll continue to report to you and give you the updates for spring, and then we'll also begin very quickly looking at what's happening with the fall term by measuring the number of applications for fall. But right now, those are looking really good as well. So again, thank you for giving me an opportunity to update. I didn't provide a presentation, so if you would like any more of these numbers in front of you, I can email those to you or provide those to you however you want them. So any questions? All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Great info.
Well, I think that it's sufficient to say that the trend continues of us going one way and the rest of the community college universe nationally kind of going a slightly different way. But we are happy to be going in the positive direction, and appreciate the work that everyone is doing, particularly you presidents on your local campuses throughout the state, to make sure that folks are not only hearing our messages, but actually, again, voting by registering. So we thank you for that and appreciate it. Committee reports?
Well, let me finish.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You recall, and I've said this on more than one occasion, I recall when I first was chief of staff and some incident had occurred somewhere in the country, And I happened to turn to someone and I asked the question, if that happened here in our system, who would I call? I didn't get an answer. That concerned me. And looking around the state, I recognize that Keith Brown, as he does on so many other occasions, was looking forward. And he was so kind to lend us a helping hand. And today I want to give a report of where we stand in terms of safety and security. An update is what has happened, and it has been a total reversal. And we are offering opportunities to people all across the state. So Chief, if you would come forward. Chief Bailey has been leading the charge, so tell us what's happening.
Good morning, Chairman, Chancellor, board members. We have made a lot of progress in the last 2 years. As of this morning, we now have 23 functioning police departments at all of our systems, with the exception of Ingram, which is unique. I'll say that to say the least. But what we've done has been remarkable if you look at the time we've set up the amount of new departments. Additionally, the Chancellor's provided funding where they're now equipped. The last several months, we've been teaching everything from crime scene investigation, basic investigations, and unfortunately, we're like any other municipality. We have burglaries, we have other crimes, and we've been successfully dealing with those issues. Now we're getting into the new year, and that's where Chancellor Baker opened the door for us to do a little more, and I'm a big believer in partnerships. While we need to be doing professional development work with our own staff, we also need to be touching our partners in the surrounding communities. Now, I've been a contractor for the Department of Justice for years, and we always taught classes in the bigger cities because it collected bigger numbers. This is our opportunity to do something really unique. We're using our partnerships, and we're going to be providing training in rural Alabama in areas where you normally would not see that kind of training. What we're doing, give you an example, everybody's familiar with crime scene investigations. Honestly, it doesn't work like it does on TV, which it did. But what we're doing is we're showing the smaller departments how to make cases more effectively, and I teach a program that's a lot less money than some. It's not about buying a lot of equipment, it's about knowing techniques. We're doing partnerships with the Ethics Commission, and we're teaching classes, and when I say the classes, we're hitting all 7 of our workforce regions in the state. So any law enforcement officer is going to be within driving distance within an hour of at least not one, but 2 of the classes you hear. So we've got the crime scene investigation. You'll see a lot of investigations. We're working with Ethics Commission, and we're going to be doing classes on both ethics violations and public corruption. We're going to be doing work with Office of Prosecution Services, where we're dealing with vulnerable victims, sex crimes, child abuse, some of the more heinous things that we have to investigate. And then we're working on how to build better cases. That's going to make our system work a lot better. We're working on the other side on other issues like crisis negotiation and violence de-escalation training. And that's going to be pushed around the state. When we release this out on the very first of the year, our first classes start next week. Within the first week, we have a little better than 300 people signing up for classes. I'm getting emails, actually had probably 8 or 10 since we've been sitting here, with folks reaching out trying to get signed up for classes, and they're excited about seeing things taught in areas that really have never had that presented. We've always had law enforcement training, but we really haven't pushed this level out on a statewide basis. So what we're looking at is not only We're increasing the capabilities of our departments. We're reaching out and partnering with a new generation of law enforcement officers across the state, and hopefully we'll see really significant progress from that. Thank you.
Any questions? This is a whole new environment that we're dealing with. And it's most helpful to small cities, counties, where they have difficulty training or finding people to train. So it's been an asset. Chris Cox, would you come forward? Chris and staff and others, we've been working on what can we do to address some of the issues that we need to address in this state relative to student performance, opportunities to participate and become familiar with the workforce. So Chris, if you would give a kind of brief, quick overview of what we're talking about doing.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And congratulations, Dr. Milner. You're joining a great team of people, I'll tell you that. So, but we also, one of the chancellor's famous sayings, he will always say, if you run out of work, let me know. I'll promise you none of us are going to run out of work around here. And what we're working on is, I think, something that's really good for us as community colleges and our state, and but most importantly, trying to help people. And you know, one of the things Chancellor Baker has tabbed us with, and mentioned this to the presidents, I think in October, that we were working on some things, and it's really, we keep pounding it out and getting more information and talking to more people, more presidents getting involved, staff here, and I want to thank everybody for the help. But labor force participation is a code word that we hear all over the state, that we have. You know, unemployment rate is one of the best in the country, but our labor force participation is the lowest. We are at the bottom of the list, and Chancellor Baker has challenged us to find ways to change that. Well, how do we do that? Well, we're educators, and I think the plan, board members, that we have talked about and are still hashing out is, if we can expose more of these students in high school to the things that we do after high school, can be game-changing. In other words, if we can fish while they're in a net before they get out into the ocean, it's harder to catch them once they get away from us. Well, some staggering data is almost 50% of the students that graduate high school do not seek any post-secondary training. However, most of the jobs that pay a livable wage, like Candace, they require post-secondary training. So we are the only entity in the state, and I say we, these presidents and our colleges are the only entity that I think Chancellor Baker, I believe, and most of us believe, that can make a difference. So how do we go about that? Well, in that challenge, some things have evolved, and I'll tell you what has evolved. How do we capture every high school student and let them know what we do? Well, ideas here are, what about ninth grade students who are taking a mandatory career prep B class in ninth grade, not changing their course of study, but embedding maybe a 10-hour course that our Innovation Center maybe is able to put together, that allows students to explore careers, the 16 clusters, and opportunities that are ahead of them in 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, and then thereafter. The other thing that does is, I don't think at any point that the community colleges in the regions have been able to capture the names and information of every student that is in the high school, and gives us an opportunity to not only recruit, but get information to their parents to let them know the things that are provided and offered to them. So in that Career Prep B course, if they just do a unit that teaches students about the career clusters, what's ahead of them, and we're calling the career roadmap. Not that is, everybody can get on the road. And what road are they going on, and what exit are they getting off? So the ninth graders have to know. Cool thing about that is when they hit 10th grade, we believe our presidents and their teams will be able to know if a student didn't engage in the dual enrollment opportunities that they have in 10th grade. And I heard Keith Phillips say in Workforce that we had 50-some high schools already participating in Skills for Success courses. Wouldn't it be great one day if every student had an opportunity or was in a Skills for Success course or had a college credit in career technical education or academic before they graduated high school? To encompass that in the end is to say, Chancellor sent 3 years ago a team to Tennessee to see what, and I think there was some from the governor's office, to see what they were doing to impact their state. And I will tell you, the labor force participation in Tennessee, don't quote me on the number, I think is 9 or 10% higher than Alabama. So I think it's a good model. Well, what they will tell you in the community college is mentoring has been their key. Mentoring students to get into their program. So senior year, let's take them from 9th grade, they learn about what we do, they have opportunities while they're in high school to engage with us, and then their senior year, industry folks, faith-based organizations. There's an operation that pulls together mentors that knows about 16 career clusters, knows about the career roadmap, and is able through their senior year to mentor that student and hopefully capture the information of what that student does on their way out of high school. And hopefully, I believe it has to have impact on engaging them to a career. Getting them in, keeping them on the road, getting them on the road, or they could exit, they could go to work. They may get a skill, heard again, Workforce saying they taught at Pike Road students to drive a skid steer, and the company that hired the student from high school started people out at $17 an hour, but because they got that skill while in high school, they're paying them $23 an hour. Well, that's important. So when I say what we have been working on, and a whole team of folks here, and couldn't name everybody, and honestly, I don't know that we know how we've gotten to the point we are with this plan, but this is where we are, and we tend to believe that it could have a major impact on the labor force participation in the state of Alabama. If we can start doing that, not only does it help our economy, but more importantly, if we get students connected to careers, I think we all know what happens. It saves lives. It saves lives like Candace. Candace has the opportunity to impact 2 other people that she is raising that now are coming back to us. And the more we get, and we're missing half of them right now. Now, some of them come back as adults, but the more we get, the better off I think we are. So that, Chancellor, I hope that gives a quick overview of a pretty detailed plan that we're looking at.
I would say that we have had a conference with the state superintendent and some of his staff about our thoughts, and we certainly are going to be working with anybody that is interested in addressing the issues of the labor force and the opportunities afforded for every student.
Yes, sir. All right, thank you.
Good stuff.
Thank you, Dr. Cox. Next, we'll have committee reports. We don't have any. So the next board meeting, trustee board meeting, will actually be in this room on February 14th at 10 o'clock. So we will see you then. So this meeting is adjourned, but we will, just in the brevity of time, we will reconvene here at 11 o'clock for the work session for this January meeting. So that's about 8 minutes from now. So pretty quick turn. Thank you.
Thank you. Good stuff. Oh, he's been in there. You don't know what y'all gonna do with his
I have to wait on her till she hears about it too. Al Thompson must watch all of our.
Oh, he's watching?
I don't think he's here, but I just got a text from him. Aaron Miller, the president of Coastal, Grace did a fantastic job, Sarah. Still working on enthusiasm, I hope.
Yeah, she's a little shy.
I know there's a lot of good socializing, networking, just seeing friends that you haven't seen in a bit. So we hate to break up these good conversations, but we would like for you to make your way back towards your seat if you are staying with us.
Always dragging out the rear. That's right.
Welcome to the work session for the Alabama Board of Trustees, Alabama Community College Board of Trustees. We have a number of items to be covered, and we'll start with David. Or, I see, boom.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and board members. You know when I get up to the podium, the legislative season has started. Here we are. And there's a lot of activity taking place, and so we wanted to present you all with a proposed legislative agenda that gives us our marching orders as we go across the street to the State House. So I'll briefly go through each of these bullets And if you all have any specific questions, please feel free to ask me afterwards. The first bullet point and the subsequent sub-bullet points are all items that were included in the budget request that you all approved last month. So certainly I can go through any of these specifically, but these were all included in the budget request that you all approved last month. The second bullet deals with a appropriation request from the Advancement and Technology Fund. This is a separate fund that was created by the legislature 7 or 8 years ago. There are some significant dollars that have added up in that fund. Over $1 billion is in that fund currently. Funding from this fund can be used for things such as one-time technology purchases, insurance payments, equipment, any sort of one-time, non-recurring sorts of expenses. And so we've made a request to the legislature and hope that we will see some funding from that item. The third bullet deals with another one-time supplemental appropriation. As you all remember, last year we received quite a few supplemental appropriations specifically for buildings, facilities improvements, and certainly while that was very helpful, it certainly did not cure all of the facility needs that we have in our system. So we've put together another funding request as well, and so hopefully there is some significant dollars available in one-time appropriations, and we hope to see some support there as well. The fourth bullet item, you heard from Chris Cox earlier. There's a lot of activity taking place around workforce development and labor force participation. You've got multiple groups that are meeting and putting together ideas and recommendations. The governor's office, the lieutenant governor's office, and the speaker all have committees that are looking into various aspects of this. And we've certainly been engaged in those efforts, and as Chris mentioned, looking at different ways and ideas and potential legislation that may be coming out of this office for some of those things. So we thought it would be helpful to have the board formally have an item that allows us to engage in those efforts. The fifth bullet point is really what Chris was talking about, is pursuing legislative efforts on how we can partner at a more stronger level with K-12 and the secondary school system to make sure that our programs and services being offered at the community colleges are being offered as opportunities to high school students. And so we're working on that initiative. Hope to have that finalized here soon. But that's what that item references. And then the last bullet point references gaming is going to be coming back up again in the legislative process. Certainly not taking any position on gaming. That whatever the legislature decides to do on that issue is up to them. But we're wanting to say that if something like that is pursued, we would like to see funding included in that effort to provide scholarships for students to attend our community and technical colleges free of charge. So similar, Tennessee was mentioned, similar to what Tennessee has done with their Tennessee Promise program. So that is a very quick and dirty overview of the items on this legislative agenda. Do any of you have any further questions or need any more specifics? I'd be happy to answer those.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Boone.
The next item is the annual purchase of professional legal liability insurance for the system and its institutions. I am very happy to report that the quote we have received for this year's coverage for the period of March 1, 2024 through March 1, 2025 is flat. No increase in the premium. Same coverage, Same policy limitations, same retentions, just like last year, with no increase. The annual cost will be $376,000 in change. Does anyone have any questions?
That's good.
Yes, sir.
That's all you can say when it didn't go up. Mark?
Good morning, board members and Chancellor Baker. We have 6 items to present this morning for consideration. The first project, board members, takes us over to Jefferson State, specifically down to the Chilton and the Clanton campus. We have there a project that we finished up a little over a year ago, or 18 months ago, with a new CDL training track. And this has become a very successful program that's being offered in the area. And we are presenting for your consideration the addition of a pavilion to complement this training track site. It has facilities for a covered outdoor training space and then restrooms to accommodate those that are the participants in the training. You have the financial information in your packets. As we look at that, the college president and I were looking at that earlier, Dr. Brown and I. We're hoping that those budgets might actually come below that $500,000 threshold. So, but this is the recommendation that we have for you to consider. Bids will be coming in, board members, later this month, and then we anticipate the work starting before the month of April and then concluding as we go into the fall semester. Board members, any questions about the CDL training track new pavilion down at the Clanton Chilton campus? The next project, board members, takes us down to Southern Union, or over to Southern Union. We have 2 projects. The first one is for a ground lease that we would enter into for the construction of a new aviation maintenance training hangar. The ground lease would be located out at the Auburn University Airport. The yellow dot represents the location of the training center itself in proximity to the airport. And then we've included in your packet a series of slides. We see with this schematic the building itself and then the apron where airplanes can come in from the runway into taxi into the building. The program itself for the aviation training is focused on A&P, and as we have seen in other areas of the state, there's a growing demand for these students. And President Shackett has developed a wonderful relationship with the Auburn University and our students having opportunities in this area. We included a series of drawings that give you an overview of the hangar. The hangar itself is, for the most part, is driven by an architectural standard that Auburn has to keep and establish continuity throughout the airport that they have there. And then you can see the space as it will accommodate airplanes that can be brought in to the facility. The lease, board members, has an initial term of 30 years, and then we have 2 other options that are 5-year extensions to the 30-year initial lease. And then we also have in there that the cost that they will settle on is at 23 cents a square foot. Board members, any questions about the ground lease for at the Auburn University Airport for the maintenance training hangar that'll be part of the A&P program that Southern Union will offer to its students? That is a mouthful. The third project, it dovetails as well with the lease, and you have seen in your packet pretty much for the most part the duplication of the information that we gave representing the lease. Although we did include in there for you the financials that show a little bit of the costs that we anticipate for the project. The architect is Williams Blackstock, and they're doing a very nice job with this particular project. We are concerned about cost as always, and so they're already on alert to notify contractors and those that follow their work and others outside their purview to take an interest and bid on the project. We expect bids will come back on the 14th, and then construction can start in the second quarter of this year and be finished as we go into 2025. Board members, any questions about the maintenance training hangar for the A&P training program that Southern Union will offer students? The next project, board members, takes us over to Shelton, and we have two projects here for you. The first one is at the Fred campus. On the Fred campus, we have the ongoing improvements of our facilities there. It's a multi-year program. This particular project focuses on the mechanical equipment in buildings 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 700. And we've included in the packet for your review the schematics and a lot of the detail of the mechanical equipment and purchases that you see here. In these 6 buildings, we anticipate having and finalizing the finances for these. Much of the lead time equipment is being ordered through cooperatives to allow us to get the jump on the renovations of these spaces and the installation of the equipment. We expect that this work will kick off in a big way going into the second quarter, and much of the installation should be completed as we finish out the end of this calendar year, 2024. Board members, any questions about the mechanical equipment purchases for improvements at the Fred campus? The next one at Shelton switches us over to the west to the Martin campus, and this is for the softball complex. We have some improvements that we're doing to this facility. As we take a look at the improvements, one of the major additions will be this press box and restroom facilities that will complement and support the softball program. We included there a site plan and schematics. Pretty much the scope of the work is to address the spectator seating, the press box, as I mentioned it, concessions, the restrooms and so forth, and to deal with the field and the landscape. And in essence, the effort is to take and to provide a facility that the softball program enjoys that is equal and on par with the baseball program. Board members, this project, we expect to start activity with this and the bids going into February, kicking off the work in the project before the end of the first quarter, and completing the work as we go into the fall. Board members, any questions about the Martin Campus Softball Project and its improvements? The next one, board members, is Wallace State Community College up at the Hansville campus. We have at this particular location some drainage issues with the storm drainage on the campus. These are facilities that go back to original installation and construction. We included enough of the photographs that you get a pretty good perspective of some of the needs that we need to address. So as we deal with the curbing and other issues that will help to eliminate some problems with roads and water issues, this will eventually correct these problems as you've seen in the photographs. We expect to receive bids later this month going into February, and then kicking this work off as the weather changes and we get into the second quarter, and then completing this work as we go into the closeout of this particular calendar year. Board members, any questions about the improvements to the storm drainage at the Wallace State Hansville campus? Board members, thank you. Appreciate all that you do.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
It looks like we have completed the items on this work session's agenda. And as I mentioned earlier, the next work session will actually be in this room on February 14th following the Board of Trustee meeting. So this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman.